Good evening, I'm Jason Vio. Katerina is away tonight. Here's what's making news right now.
The one friend was doing cocaine and there was fentanyl in the cocaine. She went to bed and didn't wake up, right? She left behind a son and a brother and, you know, a lot of friends who miss her.
Now we see all these people, cars, friends. It's a great thing to see.
It's been a couple years also that we haven't been out in the public educating anybody, and it's really important that we get back out there, and the turnout's been great.
Thanks for joining us. People here in Windsor-Essex are remembering loved ones who have died from a drug overdose. A local organization has launched a new website for people to share messages and memories ahead of International Overdose Awareness Day later this month. The CBC Windsor's Jennifer LaGrassa brings us that story.
You did your best to be a good dad. Most couldn't resist that funny, charming personality. Hope you're singing and dancing up in heaven. Messages of love and heartache are painting a picture of some community members who have died from opioids. Since harm reduction organization Positive Pathways launched an online memorial Tuesday, it's already received nearly 20 messages. For one resident, this memorial strikes a more personal chord.
If I could write something to honor them, I would just tell them I love them and I wish I had more time with them.
Dan Gibbs recently lost 2 friends to overdoses.
The one friend was doing cocaine and there was fentanyl in the cocaine, and she went to bed and didn't wake up, right?
Gibbs knows addiction isn't easy to break. Today, he's marking 90 days of sobriety after 20 years of using drugs on and off.
Like you're gambling with your life every time you take that hit. I'd wake up every morning and just think, why even bother? This is the way I'm going to be for the rest of my life, and that's just how it is, right? Yeah, and it's sad.
If he kept using the way that he was, Gibbs told me that he might have ended up on this wall. Last year in Windsor-Essex, 67 people died an opioid-related death. And Positive Pathways says that that crisis only continues to get worse. It hopes that this online space can be a place for people to share and to heal.
Oftentimes, the friends and families of people who have died from an overdose feel like they don't have a space, or at least a public space, where they can mourn and share those feelings. It really hit home when I started seeing these messages come in. I was like, oh yeah, of course, this is why I'm doing the work that I do.
Positive Pathways is also holding a free opioids and naloxone training session on August 31st, International Overdose Awareness Day. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor.
The new national Unifor president is touting the union's newest policy on diversity. It says the auto industry is lagging when it comes to representation in the workplace. The CBC's Stacey Janzer has more on their plans to change that.
Policy recognizes that Canada's auto sector must do a lot better supporting diversity and inclusion.
The new national policy says women and Indigenous people are underrepresented when it comes to auto workers. It also says that while numbers of Black women and other women of color are slightly higher than the representation in the overall Canadian workforce, they fall behind when it comes to higher paying jobs. According to Unifor, women represent a quarter of workers in Canada's auto industry, which is below the number in Canada's manufacturing sector overall. Payne says the GM plant in Oshawa has taken a step toward having a more diverse workforce. About half of the new workers hired at the plant are women. The new policy highlights the new hires along with a $10 a day childcare as foundational steps for a more inclusive workplace.
If we're looking to reflect the face of Canada, the automotive sector is not there yet, but there are some employers that are doing some good work. But it does take work, and that's why we developed our program.
She says the mistake companies make is not focusing on retaining employees.
Diversity hiring blitzes, and they find people to represent their region or Canada, and they hire them, but if they're not truly including them, then they leave, and it becomes a revolving door.
Douglas says the focus should be on ways to transform their workplace culture to be more inclusive. Another issue, union agreements with companies can sometimes cause problems.
I've seen some challenges while working with companies who have agreements with unions. Our participants may not have that much seniority to get referred to a company which is unionized. So sometimes they have to wait longer than their male counterparts.
Douglas says terminology in collective agreements can cause issues, especially around gendered or biased titles such as foreman or juryman. Though she says the shift is happening, it's going to take some time. Stacey Janzer, CBC News, Windsor.
Drew Dilkins announced today he's seeking a third term as Windsor's mayor. He was the last member of council to declare his intentions for the upcoming municipal election.
I thought about this long and hard. I consulted with my family and all of my friends who are here today, and I have a very, very profound respect for the office of mayor and for the work that council does together. And I know that I can still make a meaningful difference for the residents of our city.
Dilkins was first elected as the city's mayor in 2014 and has served 2 back-to-back terms. At this point, he will be running against Ward 4 Councillor Chris Holt, Ernie Lamont, and Benjamin Daniluk. The nomination period closes in 1 week and the election is on October 24th. It seems the federal government is easing up the rules around its ArriveCan app. Radio-Canada is reporting Ottawa has decided that people who forget to fill out the app as they cross the border will no longer be penalized for the first time they do it. But if travelers repeatedly fail to fill it in, they could face fines and possibly a quarantine order. Some people had complained they faced thousands of dollars in penalties for neglecting to complete the app when they crossed the border. There has been no public announcement of the change, though, but the public security minister confirmed to Radio-Canada that the change has been made. The ArriveCan app was introduced in the spring of 2020, and there is no indication it will be discontinued. Mental health therapy in Ontario just became more difficult to access as the government has now reduced funding for free online treatment. The province touted the program at the beginning of the pandemic when it provided funding to 2 online platforms offering free internet-based cognitive behavioral therapy. And as Angelina King tells us, less funding will mean fewer people can access help.
Since the beginning of the pandemic, family doctor Jenny Clement has been suggesting Mind Beacon to several patients a week. Thanks to government funding, the online platform offered a free 12-week therapy program that allowed people to sign up without a referral.
It allows access to a whole variety of patients that wouldn't have previously been able to access counseling.
But as of today, that model is ending. According to public documents, the Ontario government is cutting funding to the program by 85%. Mind Beacon was given $24 million to provide free therapy for 2 years, but that funding is being cut to $3.75 million. That means Mind Beacon is expecting to help 85% fewer people, 9,000 in the next 2 years compared to the 60,000 during the initial program.
It's really disappointing.
Clement says mental health support is especially important at this stage of the pandemic.
Now what we're seeing are the long-term effects. The needs are shifting, but they're increasing, if anything.
The CEO of the company that owns Mind Beacon says more than half of those who use the program had never received mental health counseling before, and clients reported positive results.
We're seeing over 48% of the people, especially in the anxiety, recovering and getting the help that they require.
Karen Adams says one of the most effective parts of online therapy is people don't have to wait.
So when I'm ready to get that help with mental health, I can get it.
But now, in order to get the service for free, people will need a referral from a specialized healthcare organization like the Canadian Mental Health Association, or a referral from their family doctor to that organization.
Another step to getting referred to mental health resources is going to be a barrier.
Under the new program, if a person signs up without a referral, the cost is $525, which is covered by most health insurance providers. But Mind Beacon says more than half of the people who use the free program didn't have benefits.
It's going to be the same as it always is. The people that are okay and have the resources will be okay, and the people that don't have the resources will not be okay.
The provincial government didn't provide a comment by our deadline. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Canada's Public Health Agency gave an update today on monkeypox, and Ontario has surpassed Quebec in the number of cases.
A total of 1,059 confirmed cases of monkeypox have been reported nationally. including 511 cases in Ontario, 426 in Quebec, 98 in British Columbia, 19 in Alberta, 3 in Saskatchewan, and 2 in the Yukon.
Tam says it's too soon to say cases are plateauing, but there are signs that the outbreak is slowing down. Less than 1% of confirmed cases were females or people under 20 years of age. Tam says monkeypox is mostly spread from person to person, but it can be spread by direct contact with clothing, sheets, or personal items of infected people. More than 50,000 Canadians have now been vaccinated. A major trial is underway for a potential vaccine against Lyme disease. If approved, it would be the first vaccine of its kind in 20 years. And as Lauren Pelly shows us, it comes as cases are on the rise here in Canada.
On a relaxing morning hike with her family in Toronto's Rouge Park, Macaire Douglas keeps an eye out for tiny, potentially dangerous pests.
We track the kids. We've definitely had a few ticks on us here or there. We have some family members that have had Lyme disease, so definitely something we think about.
But there's welcome news for anyone who loves the great outdoors. A new vaccine for Lyme is in the works.
That's a great thing. Science is great.
The shot is being developed by Pfizer and a French biotech company. Researchers are now seeking thousands of volunteers in the US and Europe to test it out.
We have patients who've already started to come in and want to participate.
A vaccine for dogs has long been available, but the last one for humans was pulled from the market after low demand. The latest trials are happening as reported cases of Lyme in Canada keep ticking up. Last year, there were nearly 3,000 known infections.
There's just no question that people who were not encountering ticks are now encountering ticks in their own backyard.
In Alberta, Janet Sperling researches the different types of bacteria ticks can carry. Lyme infections are known for early symptoms like fever and fatigue, but if left untreated, the bacteria can spread into the nervous system.
So this is one of the big ticks.
Sperling says ticks known for carrying Lyme are spreading north.
Kingston and Toronto, Quebec has a very big problem, and then Nova Scotia has had a very big problem for a very long time.
The health problems Canadians face from tick bites could be tough to prevent unless a new vaccine arrives, a process which could take years. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
A shrunken head that is currently sitting in the Chatham-Kent Museum was recently discovered to be human remains. The discovery was published by a master's candidate with her colleagues at Western University's Department of Anthropology.
They shouldn't have them, and when you think about what they are, is that they're remains of ancestors, and they're to the Shuar who created these monsters. There are souls inside them, and so you have to think about them as people that you are working with, and it's not right to have that type of artifact with such cultural significance and cultural importance to these people who are seen as ancestors. You can't have those hidden in your homes.
Shrunken heads are severed human heads that were often used as war trophies. It was picked up from an indigenous tribe in the Amazon by the great-grandfather of Chatham-Kent Municipal Councillor Doug Salmon. The anthropology researchers say if people have these artifacts in their homes, they would like to know. That's because they say they have a huge cultural significance and need to be respected. Start your engines. The Olette Car Cruise is back after a 2-year break due to the pandemic. Hundreds of classic, vintage, and muscle cars will be rolling down the streets of Windsor tonight. We sent our video producer Darren DiCarlo down to check out the sights and sounds.
1929 Ford Model A 5-window coupe, better known as a businessman's coupe. I get a kick out of watching the seniors that this is their era. When you come out here and you go by Riverside Drive and you see the seniors outside, I mean, like, you know, all you hear is, that was our first car. That was my first car. We had one when we were married. We had this. I've had people want to go for a ride. I mean, unbelievable. You know, I've had a lady at 85 years old a couple of years ago said, my dream was to go for a ride in the rumble seat. I said, how old are you? She says, 85. I says, we better go right now. And she got in the car and we went for a ride.
It's a coupe de ville, a 1959 Caddy, Cadillac. I got it in Spokane, Washington. I bought it, 1987. So when I bought it home, the wife wasn't too happy to see it, put in good shape.
Right.
But then I said, one day you're gonna be happy. So that's what I did. About 17 years later, I got it all done.
Right.
She was happy. Well, it's the best thing ever came back because after, when the COVID came in, everything was dead, like, you know what I mean? So now we see all these people, cars, friends. It's a great thing to see.
Still to come, Windsor firefighters blast their hose in the air, not to extinguish a fire, but to keep kids cool. We'll have that story for you right after the break. Getting cooled down by a fire truck sprinkler's just what some of us need to beat the heat. This week, kids and their families got soaked, but also got a dose of fire safety from Windsor Fire at the same time. The event is called Hot Summer Nights, and it's been happening weekly in different spots around the city. Last night, the event was at Tranby Park in the East End.
We're out here, Hot Summer Nights at Tranby Park.
And we've been doing this since the end of June on every Thursday night from 5:30 to 7:30. And we're having a night out where the fire trucks come out and spray some water, and we're out having barbecues and fire safety information to give out to everybody. So when the families come up and the children want to get their juice and their hot dog, we talk to them about their smoke alarms to make sure that they test their smoke alarms every month and that they change their batteries twice a year and that they have one on every level of their home. We also discuss carbon monoxide alarms and that they're also the law to have in their homes. It's been a couple years also that we haven't been out in the public educating anybody, and it's really important that we get back out there. And the turnout's been great, and it's great to be somewhere and people actually come with their fire safety questions that we can answer for them. It goes all the way till September 4th, the last Thursday before the kids go back to school.
And Dahlia joins us now for a live look at weather. Dahlia, what a great way to beat the heat. And there was even a rainbow that made its appearance there as well.
That's right, James. Now, it's great to see the firefighters showering the kids with some water. And I got to say, Mother Nature also is going to be doing the same thing this weekend. We're not having hot temperatures like last weekend with that heat warning that was in effect, and the humidity was really high. This weekend, temperatures are going to drop a little bit cooler and a little bit more damp. So the current temperatures in Windsor right now, as we could see, it is in the low 20s. What to expect in the area? We are expecting some rain that will be hitting the area as well. As you can see, there's some cloud coverage and the precipitation activity that is making its way through. And then as we can see, it's slowly making its way through again, and it will be mostly foggy and rain on Sunday afternoon, and that will somewhat continue up until Monday as well. Now, as you head into Monday afternoon, we could see that the precipitation activity will be making its way up as well, and that is something to keep an eye out on as well. Now, in terms of the area, there's the wrong map up here. Not sure, a little bit of technical difficulties again today, but that's okay. We will just go off of memory from what I remember. It will be a little bit lower tonight in terms of temperatures, but rain is expected to come through as well. Now, this is Toronto forecast. We're not sitting too much far off as well in Windsor. It will be in the cooler range as well, anywhere between 12 to 15 degrees and damp conditions as well. So the plants will be getting some rain and some sunshine as well. As you head into next week on Monday, some precipitation too.
Okay, Dahlia, so I guess what we need to know really is Saturday, pretty nice and comfortable and pretty much sunny, and then on Sundays when we can expect
Exactly. There will be some fog activity. There's a lot of cloud coverage, and temperatures are cooling down. I mean, I've been keeping an eye on this all day anyways in the southwestern region, and so those damp conditions will be somewhat continuing throughout the weekend as well, so something to keep an eye out on. Still in the mid-20s for the most part, not as humid as it was last week, but that precipitation will be sticking around, and if you're heading to cottage country, it is a lot warmer up there anyways.
Yeah, and do you think Sunday it'll be a lot of rain, scattered
It's going
showers?
to be about 40% chance of rain from when I checked last, and I was keeping an eye on the satellite radar. So that is something to keep an eye on, especially as you head into Monday. Keep an umbrella on you. But for the most part, you can still keep your sunglasses with you because you're still going to see some sunshine peeking throughout the weekend as well.
Okay, thanks so much, Dahlia. We appreciate it.
Thanks, James.
Still to come, a judge unseals a search warrant to reveal what the FBI seized inside of Donald Trump's home. That story is coming up next. We now know more about the search of the Florida home of former U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday. Today, a judge allowed the warrant for the search to be unsealed, and court documents show the FBI recovered files that were labeled top secret. A list does not describe the subject matter, however, but the warrant shows agents were investigating potential violations of laws, including the Espionage Act. Democrat Nancy Pelosi spoke before the warrant was unsealed.
If the nature of this of these documents is what appears to be, this is very serious.
Trump released a statement also before the warrant was unsealed. He claims the seized documents were all declassified and argued he would have turned over the documents to the Justice Department had they asked. TELUS wants to charge cell phone customers who pay by credit card more for doing that. It's asking the CRTC for permission to add an extra fee starting this fall to cover processing costs. The company says it would work out to about an extra $2 per month for customers outside of Quebec. Sophia Harris has those details.
Been about 15 years that I've been a customer of TELUS. And
Ken Hart has been pretty happy with his TELUS wireless service. But he believes the telecom's proposal to charge customers a 1.5% fee when paying by credit card is a terrible idea.
It's a money grab. Well, I think that they're actually going to be shooting themselves in the foot because of the really terrible PR that this is going to cause.
If TELUS gets the green light from the CRTC, it wants to start charging the fee come mid-October. The telecom says the fee will help cover costs for processing credit card payments and that the average charge to affected customers will be around $2 a month.
It is not surprising to see these companies, trying to nickel and dime us.
This telecom critic says Canadians pay some of the highest wireless rates in the world, so an added fee is unacceptable.
This is just another way to raise our bills through shady practices in extra fees, in adding things on top so that we are paying even more.
TELUS's proposal is already facing stiff opposition. Hundreds of Canadians have submitted online complaints to the CRTC. And it's not just TELUS customers sounding the alarm bell. This restaurant and catering business owner has a wireless plan with Rogers for 6 phones for employees. He worries if TELUS gets to charge the fee, Rogers will follow suit, which would mean an extra $5 each month.
It adds up for the little guys. Our bills are just continuously going up. Our food costs have gone up, our labor costs have gone up, and we're counting our pennies.
Rogers and Bell did not respond to requests for comment on the fee. TELUS has asked the CRTC to decide on its proposal by September 7th. If the fee gets approved, it won't apply in Quebec. As for the rest of its customers, TELUS says they can avoid the fee by using a different payment method, which many already do. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Toronto.
That's it for CBC Windsor News. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, for news anytime, head to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor, and we're on social media as well. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The Rick Mercer Report is up next. Have a great night and a great weekend.